my first podcast episode after the 2025 season is over, so I guess it's a little bit more of an excuse to do some off-season content. Bleacher Report put out a really fun article, one player most likely to be traded on every single NBA team this offseason, and I'm excited to react to this and kind of give my thoughts if I think it's the most likely player. I actually did this video, every team's most likely trade candidate, on my Sauce channel probably a month ago, so I could see if it's similar. This did come out on the 21st, so this was the day before the KD trade, so there's probably a good chance he's going to be mentioned in this article, but I'll pivot and say who I think could be like the most likely Suns trade candidate. I haven't really talked too much about the finals, but I did go on Bleacher Report's app and I talked about the finals after it ended last night. If you caught that, it pretty much had the same thoughts as everybody. It felt like such a hyped up, like major anticipated game, and then it all kind of comes crashing down with Halliburton's injury in the first quarter. He ruptured his Achilles. There's a good chance he misses 90, if not 100% of next year's season, given how late it happened right now, because this is like a 10-month recovery at the minimum, and that brings you to the end of the regular season. And this happened as late as you could, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. So he's probably out all of next year, which really sucks. And Dame, Tatum, Halliburton all tore their Achilles in the playoffs. DeJounte Murray in the regular season this year, and some others. So it'll be interesting to see what route they go. Congrats to the Thunder. Obviously, Shea, an incredible year, MVP and Finals MVP, and they are set up to become, I don't know about a dynasty. It's tough to do it in the modern NBA with how much parity we've seen, but with everybody under contract, with the draft capital they have, and still some financial flexibility, they're going to be okay. So let's hop into this article. This is written by Dan Favelli of Bleacher Report. So Atlanta Hawks, their most likely trade candidate this offseason is Terrence Mann. I think if you're going most likely, Mann or George Niang would make a lot of sense. With LeVert being a free agent, they want to bring him back. They have a ton of wings as it is with not only Mann, but you have Vic Krejci, Risa Shea, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, aforementioned George Niang. So like, Mann making around $15 million could be an interesting trade piece. He's about to start that 3-year, $47 million deal, so he would be getting traded before that fully kicks in. And I could see that. I don't know if we're actually going to get a Trae Young trade this offseason. I think it will be interesting to keep an eye on, but I don't think it's going to end up happening. It's going to be really intriguing to see what they do on draft night with 13 and 22. All right, so next up, we do have the Boston Celtics, and this makes a lot of sense, Jrue Holiday, right? Like, I wonder now that Indiana is going to be on, like, a big TBD next year, would they be like, we actually want win now players for Jrue Holiday instead of just like, well, I guess if you're getting salary filler, they're probably a win now player since they were good enough to get that contract. But yeah, I think there's still a really good chance Jrue Holiday gets moved this offseason. This team is just way too expensive. And I think teams like Dallas or the Clippers are very intrigued about Jrue Holiday to help them go over that hump and win a title next year. So I do agree with that. I think it's probably more likely than like Kristaps or like Sam Hauser or somebody like that. So next up, we do have the Brooklyn Nets, Cam Johnson, and this should be true. Cam Johnson should definitely get moved this offseason. He's not netting a Desmond Bane haul, but he can honestly get more than half of it, and the Nets would be wise to do so. I wonder what's going to happen with them on the night of the NBA draft. Are they going to end up getting Ace Bailey, because that saga has been really interesting so far, but I think there is a really good chance that Cam Johnson like will get moved this offseason. If like, I just don't see his purpose on the team next year. He's a good player, and maybe you could still get a great haul at the deadline. Like, it won't be too big of a difference, but what if he gets hurt? What if he has a like a shooting slump to start off the year, and you could have gone like a really good return? So I don't know. I think the Nets are going to be pretty bad next year, even in a weak Eastern Conference. So you might as well capitalize on a seller's market this offseason. For the Charlotte Hornets, it's Josh Okogie. I guess he probably has a little bit more chance if he's thrown in a trade. His $7 million contract, definitely tradable. I think they should move Miles Bridges. I wonder if they will actually end up moving Mark Williams this offseason. I guess a lot of that determines, or is going to be determined on what happens on the night of the draft as well. Like, if they took Kamon Watch at 4, yeah, Mark Williams is probably as good as gone this offseason. So I do agree with that. Josh Okogie, probably more than Josh Green, but I think Green could have some value out there, 100%. For the Chicago Bulls, it is Ayo Dosunmu. Okay, I think I disagree with this. It should be, and I think it will be, Nikola Vucevic. I think he will get traded in some way, shape, or form. But the Chicago Bulls would be the team in that like play-in tier that it's like, all right, the Indiana Pacers are going to be banged up. The Celtics are banged up. The East is wide open. Dame is hurt. Let's go all in. Let's trade for let's trade back for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, right? And let's get the gang back together. I think like they would get a better return for Kobe White, but Dosunmu is making a little bit less and probably not as good of a player. So maybe you would feel okay trading him right now. And I think Dosunmu would have a strong market, but honestly, he's probably like the third most likely guy because I think it's Lonzo Ball's got to be up there, right? Like you're going to give Josh Giddey $30 million. What purpose does Lonzo Ball have on your team next year with White, Dosunmu, Gideon? What if they drafted a guard as well? And Trey Jones, right? Like he's a free agent. For Cleveland, Isaac Okoro, I did agree with this one as well. I think there's a good chance Okoro gets moved or Max Strus this offseason. They want to re-sign Ty Jerome, and this is a second apron team right now. So if they're not moving like a Jared Allen or Darius Garland, and I don't think that's going to happen, I think there's a good chance they move Isaac Okoro to get under that second apron so they can look to probably go back into the second apron to bring back Ty Jerome this offseason and then maybe figure it out. Because the Cavs, they've I think the second best odds or the best odds to win the Eastern Conference next year, it's them and the Knicks right now. And they're another example is like they're looking around the East. Why not us? We did win 64 games, and I know they haven't made it out of the Eastern Conference semifinals yet with this core. They lost to the Knicks 2 years ago. They lost to the Celtics last year. They lost to the Pacers this year. But I do feel like there's a good chance this team could go to the conference finals right now, depending on, I guess, their health next year, but they still have a deep team and they're still a really good team. For the Dallas Mavericks, it's Daniel Gafford. I also disagree. I think their most likely trade piece will end up being PJ Washington with them drafting Cooper Flagg and him getting presumably 30 minutes a night to start off the season or high 20s. And you already have Caleb Martin. You already have Najee Marshall and Max Christie and Jaden Hardy. And those guys are all under contract next year as well, in 2027. PJ Washington isn't. Now, Daniel Gafford isn't either, but you do need big man depth. Anthony Davis, not the most healthy big man in the league. We know that. Derek Lively got hurt a couple times last year. And I think they may need Daniel Gafford, even though they may not be able to re-sign him in a year. So maybe he gets traded at the deadline, but I think PJ Washington has a better chance of getting moved this offseason just because, one, he's a free agent after next year, and two, they don't really need him anymore with Cooper Flagg in the mix, and they would get a good return for PJ Washington, who shot the ball well from three last year, and has shown, at least in the 2024 playoffs, he could be a good defender on the NBA's biggest stage. For the Denver Nuggets, it's Dario Saric. I mean, good luck. Have fun trying to move Dario Saric this offseason. I'm sure they would like to. He just opted into his $5.4 million player option. This is just like a swap maybe. Like maybe you're getting an equally like unappealing player, but it could be a little bit different in your system. Maybe it ends up being something like that. Or maybe it's Sarge and a first for a sign and trade guy or something this offseason. Yeah, I would say it's Sarge, Zeke Naji. Russ already opted out, so not him. And I just think Michael Porter Jr., they'd probably like to move him as well, but that contract is just way too big at the moment. Next up for Detroit, we have Simone Fontecchio. He had a down year last year after an encouraging 15 game sample size at the end of the 2024 season. He has an $8.3 million expiring, so they could use that in a trade as well. They could just maybe parlay that contract with the Tobias contract or the Isaiah Stewart contract or something else if they wanted to go after a notable name. I thought they would have been a fun KD team, but yeah, they're a team that was a 6 seed this year. They went above 500 for the first time in a while, and they can take a leap next year. But do they want to just see what they have, or do they want to be a little bit aggressive? They have some notable free agents in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder, so we'll see if they bring back 1, 2, or 3 of those guys. But Fontecchio with Asar and Holland and Tobias, and they have a lot of wings at Beasley and Hardaway. He could be the odd man out. Golden State, it's Moses Moody. Interesting. I thought it would end up just technically being Kuminga by default, or it could end up being Buddy Hield to get to that matching salary. But what Moody has that Buddy Hield doesn't have is probably appealing trade value. Like Moody, given his age, the 3-year contract's about to kick in, 3 years, $37 million. He plays pretty solid defense. He's a good three-point shooter. At least he was at times last year. That would have some value in the open market. So say it's Kuminga and Moody, or say it's Moody and I don't know if it's Looney or Payton or a sign and trade with one of their free agents or Buddy Hield. He could end up getting moved. I just wonder if Golden State would want to do, I don't know what Golden State's going to do this offseason, right? Like OKC is going to be ready to go next year. They did beat the Rockets in 7, but they just added Kevin Durant. So we'll see how they're going to look going forward. For the Houston Rockets, it's Jalen Green. So they got this right. All right, so we can give them some credit. It ended up being Jalen Green in that Kevin Durant trade. So they ended up being correct. I think I would have said Jalen Green as well. maybe I would have thought about Jabari Smith also. I did not expect Dylan Brooks to get traded in the Kevin Durant deal, but you kind of had to make the money work. Or maybe well, I guess you didn't, right? Because Houston with Fred VanVleet's team option, and Green and Şengün's contracts still being like their rookie deals until the new year starts, they could have done like Green, for KD in a way, but yeah, Green ended up getting moved, so they were right on this one. For the Indiana Pacers, it is Benedict Mathurin. The reason behind this would be they're about to be a luxury tax team. They're going to re-sign Miles Turner. We'll see if they want to re-sign Isaiah Jackson coming off the injury. Benedict Mathurin is a restricted free agent at the end of the 2026 season. Now that Halliburton's out next year, I don't think they would, because they're going to need a little bit of a bump in scoring, and Mathurin could still be that guy for you. But if they do feel like they're not going to be able to afford Mathurin in a year, they could look to move him. I thought TJ McConnell could have get moved, but after that playoff run, no chance he's getting moved this offseason. So Jarris Walker was an interesting guy. I don't know. It's tough for the Pacers for sure. Like, they were such an exciting team this year. They went to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. But, man, they're in such a weird spot next year. For the LA Clippers, it's Bogdan Bogdanović. This could make sense as well. He's owed about $16 million next year, essentially, in the signing contract, or essentially an expiring contract, because it's got 2 years left, but the second year is a team option in 2027. He was traded for Terrence Mann. If the Clippers do want to go after a Drew Holiday, bang, Bogdan Bogdanović is in that deal as well. Or if they want to go somebody around 20 plus million, if they want to trade Norman Powell as well. Chris Dunn, I think, are other guys that could end up getting moved this offseason. Maxi Kleber for the LA Lakers. Just don't know who wants Maxi Kleber. I honestly disagree. I mean, he may be like put in a different deal. I would say this is more Dalton Connect, Rui Hachimura-esque than a Maxi Kleber if the Lakers do want to go out and get one or two, or maybe they should just add 3 different centers this offseason, because I feel like they're a team that, I don't know, man, what the Lakers are going to do. I don't know what they're going to do with this offseason. Like, the Thunder, it's such a good spot. The Rockets, the Spurs, the Timberwolves. There's so many teams that are better on the level with the LA Lakers. So we'll see, because LeBron not getting any younger. For Memphis, it's John Conchar. He's owed around $6 million going forward for the next 2 seasons, I believe. Yeah, $6.2 million for the next 2 seasons. I don't think it's going to be Ja or Jaren Jackson Jr. That gets moved. I don't think they would want to trade away like Gigi, obviously. Santi Aldama has been rumored to be a sign and trade guy, so I think that's somebody to keep an eye on in Memphis. Miami, it's Terry Rozier, but who wants Terry Rozier? Unless you're taking back Bradley Beal, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I mean, I know Miami probably wants cap space in 26, but what if they just did like Rozier and Robinson for Bradley Beal? Can we do that? Financially, it probably doesn't get like, what, that gets you to about $45-ish million, and Beal's making what, 50 plus. Beal is making so much money, man. Oh, it's such a bad contract for the next 2 years. I don't know. I would have said it's more likely Jaquez gets moved, but they didn't even want to dangle Jaquez, Jovic. I get not wanting to dangle Khalil Ware in a KD trade, but like, they were never serious suitors for Kevin Durant. I could see it being Duncan Robinson, because he's only owed $9.9 million if you do cut him next year. Pat Connaughton, I mean, who wants him, man? I just don't know. I really don't know. $9.4 million player option he just picked up. I think sign and trade Bobby Portis is way more likely, because Connaughton's getting probably put into a different deal, unless Milwaukee is willing to trade away a future first-round pick to get off of that money. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's Dante DiVincenzo. Can we get him back on the Knicks, please? I would like a little bit of a reunion over there. But I could see Minnesota trading Dante. Gobert was definitely floated around in Kevin Durant trade talks, so we could see Gobert getting moved. Randall could end up being a sign and trade. Noah could be a sign and trade. I expect them to bring back Naz Reid. I don't think Mike Conley's going to have too much value, so that may point signs to Dante DiVincenzo if they want to upgrade the roster internally. For the Pelicans, it's Kelly Olynyk. Yeah, I could see that. Bruce Brown's a free agent. I think they would want to bring him back. Maybe they would look to try to sell high a little bit on Jordan Hawkins, especially if they draft a wing at number 7. Could they look to move Jose Alvarado, who could be a free agent next year? Or could it just end up being Zion Williamson after all? I think the Pelicans are a fascinating team to see what Joe Dumars is going to do. All right, for the Knicks, it's Josh Hart. I feel like if the Knicks were going to trade one of their top 7, it would be Mitchell Robinson. I don't think the Knicks are going to trade Hart. I know Hart wasn't like the best offensive player by any means in the playoffs, but he was asked to be like I don't know, a guy that plays 40 plus minutes a night. If you add other wings, Hart is so much more valuable as a 30-minute a night guy than a 44-minute a night guy. So I think Mitchell Robinson also being an expiring contract could make him a little bit more likely. But I'll tell you, if Mikal Bridges and the Knicks cannot work on an extension, I do think with 1 year left on his deal, he will get traded. So I keep an eye on him for sure. Thunder, Ousmane Dieng. Yeah, I'd like to see a team like Charlotte, who's worked with the Thunder in the past in that Gordon Hayward deal, or maybe Brooklyn, trade for Ousmane Dieng. I wonder if they would move Kenrich Williams if they're going to be deep into the tax. And Kenrich Williams is owed $7 million, and you could still keep Ousmane Dieng that way. So I would say it's one of those two guys, Dieng, Kenrich Williams, or maybe it's one of their first round picks, even though that doesn't really qualify for this. For the Magic, it's Goga Badatse. I don't think they should move Goga. I think he's just like a really good rotational big man. I know they have Wendell Carter Jr., who they should probably look to move, but I don't even know if anybody wants his contract. Jonathan Isaac, I would look to move as well over Goga Badatse. I don't think they're going to end up moving Goga, to be honest with you. Next up for the Philadelphia 76ers, it's the number 3 overall pick. I don't think they're going to trade the number 3 overall pick. I mean, the draft situation has been so interesting. Ace Bailey canceled his workout for Philadelphia. I just don't see it happening now. Daryl Morey could just be like, F you to Ace Bailey's camp and be like, I'm drafting him, and we're going to develop him, and he's going to be a role player for us. And when they want him probably to be one of the main guys from the gate, out of the gate. And I feel we could trade down if they have it, like, if they really love Colin Murray Boyles or they love Kaman Mali Watch at like that 6, 7, 8, 9 range. I'm trying to think, like, who would end up moving up to I mean, like, the Pelicans, they definitely could. I think they're going to just end up taking VJ Edgecombe at 3. Maybe they move down to 4 if Charlotte really likes VJ Edgecombe and they were willing to give up like a bunch of seconds, or maybe it's like a Josh Green for Kelly Oubre swap or something weird like that. I just don't think the 3rd pick is going to end up getting traded when it's all said and done. But hey, you never know. For the Phoenix Suns, it's Kevin Durant, so they got this right. But we all knew it was like basically 100% chance that Kevin Durant was going to get moved this offseason. And he ended up getting moved to the Houston Rockets, which, I mean, a 2 seed adding a 26 point per game score that's like 53, 45, 85 splits is just incredible. For Portland, it's Robert Williams. Yeah, right? Like, I don't think anybody wants Jeremy Grant. I don't think so. He's got, like 4 years left on that deal. Massive, or 3. Actually, they mentioned it. I forget off the top of my head. Okay, it's 3 years, 102 remaining. DeAndre Ayton's got just a large expiring. That could help, but Anthony Simon's expiring. I don't know if they should trade him or if they will trade him, even though they maybe should. I don't think anybody wants Matisse Thybulle. So Robert Williams makes a lot of sense. I think Portland probably realizes they're not getting like a first round pick back for him. So $12 million, a team can absorb that with like a traded player exception or their mid-level exception type money, and then get Robert Williams. And Portland can now just have Klingon and Aiden as the center duo next year. For the Sacramento Kings, it's DeMar DeRozan. I don't think they're wrong. I think it's DeMar DeRozan or Malik Monk that ends up getting moved. Keegan Murray would be an intriguing piece, or even Zach LaVine, who they got at the deadline in the Fox deal. But I would say, yeah, the signs are going to point to DeMar DeRozan getting moved after 1 year in Sacramento. I think a team like Miami, I don't know about Toronto. No, not Toronto, but like Miami. I'm trying to think of like would Dallas want DeMar DeRozan, just have like 2019 All-Stars on their team with Kyrie, Clay, and AD? And I'd even mentioned Clay before when I was talking about the Mavericks. Insane depth. It's just crazy at the wing position. And yeah, I could see DeRozan getting moved just in general. I think Malik Monk would have some trade value as well. I feel like there's like a Mavericks-Kings trade waiting to happen this offseason. For the Spurs, it's Malachi Branham. Yeah, that 2022 draft class kind of going in the other direction. I mean, Jeremy Sherwin is still by far the most intriguing piece there, but Blake Wesley's probably not going to be back. I think there's like a team like Orlando even that needs some shooting should take a flyer on Malachi Branham. He's not a good defender, but hey, you throw him on a good defensive team, surround him by some complimentary defenders, and you can be okay with it. RJ Barrett, for the Toronto Raptors, he's been rumored in a bunch of trades already. I wonder what team would really want RJ Barrett, right? Like, he's a weird guy. Like, he's making high 20s, like 27 million a year. Yeah, he's got about 29 million left remaining. He's a good scorer, and he's been a good shooter in Toronto so far, but I just feel like they're not going to get great value unless they're leveraging him in a larger deal, because there's like 4 other assets in this deal. And them getting Brandon Ingram, it felt like RJ Barrett was going to be the odd man out. For the Utah Jazz, John Collins. Yeah, like he's got this player option that we're going to find out very soon if he's going to pick it up or not. You'd assume he's going to pick it up, but just because not a lot of teams have cap space out there. But could he be orchestrated in a sign and trade? Man, I could just see like the Bulls, the Hawks. I don't know about the Sixers, but like the Heat, the Raptors. I don't know about doing something dumb, but doing something crazy this offseason just because the East is actually like such an inferior conference to the West next year. And for Washington, it's Rashawn Holmes. All right, I get that. I could see Corey Kispert getting moved. I mean, there's been some talks about Bilal. Like, could they get up to 2 for Dylan Harper? I don't think that's really going to be legit whatsoever. But yeah, I think it's like Rashawn Holmes, like one of those rotational guys that could have some type of value, but probably not too much. But either way, that is one player most likely to be traded on every NBA team this offseason. This was an interesting article to look at. You can let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. A couple of my plans here. I will definitely have on Thursday morning a second round mock draft after the first round because I'm going to have a lot of draft content on the Straws channel. Today's, you guys are seeing this on Monday. You guys might be listening to this on Tuesday. So Tuesday or Wednesday, I will be reacting to ESPN's final mock on one of those days. I think Tuesday. And Wednesday, I'm not sure what I'm gonna have on that day of the draft. Maybe just like a draft preview episode. So maybe I'll do like a draft mailbag preview or something like that. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Drop a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy on YouTube. Hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you did enjoy. Helps the podcast grow on the audio platforms. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.